Cool. I think people are still joining in, but in the interest of time, I'll just quickly start off. So first of all, thanks everyone for joining in today. This is the next workshop as part of the Eat for All series, workshop series. And yeah, today with us, we have Mirko, who is a developer evangelist at Consensus. So thanks a lot, Mirko, for taking out the time and helping out the builders at Eat for All learn all about MetaMask snaps and maybe like some tips and tricks on how to win the bounty.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here. And thanks to the entire Folio team. It's amazing what you guys are doing for the Indian community.
Appreciated. So I think we can get started. I can see people are still joining in. So we can get started.
Sure. Okay. Let's try. I'm going to share my screen in a second. I guess let's try to have it a bit an interactive session with people asking questions in chat when they're unsure about something. But yeah, let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Cool. Okay, so I'll introduce myself in a second, and what I'm going to talk today is going to be about MetaMask and MetaMask snaps. So I'm not sure how many people here are familiar with our platform. I assume most people will have probably heard about MetaMask. They might not know about the snaps, but yeah, just let me know in chat how much you guys know. Yeah, so my name is Mirko. I'm a developer advocate at MetaMask. And if you don't know about the MetaMask, we are the largest self-custodial wallet in the world. We have more than 35 million users. And when I say wallet, it's a bit kind of minimizing what we really are, because what you have to think about MetaMask is that we are an interface to the blockchain, most notably Ethereum, but also the EVM blockchain. And like when you want to interact with any dApp on Ethereum, let's say you want to do a swap on a Uniswap, or you want to buy an NFT on OpenSea, that the chance it's very high that you will use MetaMask to do that. And our mission and goal is to democratize access to a permissionless future and a decentralized web. And one big part of this kind of goal that we have is represented by Snaps. So what Snaps is an ecosystem of programs that can run on top of MetaMask, and it extends our wallet functionality in a way that is secure, decentralized, and always keep user in control. So when I say program, what I really mean is you have to think about Snap as a piece of code that any developer in the world can write for any kind of functionality that they always wanted to see in MetaMask, but for whatever reason, we don't have the capability to build it, we don't have the time, or it's just a kind of bit out of scope of what we're trying to do with our platform. So just to give you a few examples of what you can build with snaps. So for example, let's say you want to connect to a non-EVM blockchain. So for those of you that are not familiar, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. And this is what MetaMask support natively. So the blockchain like Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, and others. Usually this blockchain can just run and execute smart contracts that are written in Solidity on or Viper or some other. But let's say you want to, I don't know, connect to Bitcoin network or connect to Solana. This is something that we don't do out of the box, but you will be able to build a snap to do exactly this. Another use case, it's store and manage data on a user device. So we provide an API to access data from your machine in a way that is secure and encrypted, or add a custom confirmation. So if you ever use MetaMask, you're connected to a dApp, you're probably familiar with our pop-up that asks you, do you want to sign this transaction? Do you want to take this action? So by building a snap, you will be able to customize this pop-up, as well as you can add more info about the transaction. So one thing that we saw recently someone built a snap using a ChatGPT to give a human readable way of reading a transaction. So instead of just seeing a bunch of hashes as a number, you have a plain English explanation of what the transaction was doing. You can also build a snap for running cron jobs. So let's say you want to build you want to run an action every X time on MetaMask, you will be able to do it via Snap. And the last kind of capability that is coming soon, it's custom UI. So at the moment, when you want to run a Snap, you need to have a way to connect and interact with the JSON RPC API that we provide. At the moment, the easiest way to do this is via DApp. So it's just like a decentralized application which gets served very similar to a web app. But once custom UI will be inside the snaps, you will also be able to customize the UI itself on MetaMask. This will probably, when we go more into details, it kind of will become a bit more clear. So, okay. How do you actually run and build and run a snap? So Snap is not yet supported in the MetaMask main extension, which is probably what you're familiar with, the one with the orange fox logo. So to run snaps at the moment, you will need to install a MetaMask Flask, which is just a canary distribution or main extension. So what MetaMask Flask does, it hides some part of code behind a build flag. So we use MetaMask Flask to test and kind of ship to developers all those experimental features that we are not fully ready to be in production. So that's why we always suggest every time you're using a Flask, just use it with a test account. Don't use an account that has any token, any real token. Just use it on mainnet, and yeah, just for testing purpose. So I will go a bit more into details and show how to run a very simple snap. This will be just a guide to kind of get you started and give you an idea of how you can build a snap. So okay, let me just check the chat if we got a bunch of GM. Okay, people. Okay, so the prerequisite to build a snap. So you will need a basic understanding of JavaScript and React. It's nothing super fancy. It's just we use React to just serve a very simple kind of interface to show you what a snap looks like. We have a kind of demo snap that I will show you in a second. You will need Flask install. As I mentioned, Flask is just our canary release. You can install it by going to the Google Chrome store and look for MetaMask Flask. You will see that there is a purple fox. One important disclaimer is that you cannot run MetaMask Flask alongside the main MetaMask extension because it could give you some kind of weird error. You will also need Node.js with version at least 16.0. The next step will be to clone the snaps monorepo. I think, let me see this. I'll probably just copy and paste this link in here to make it easier. And I will guide you through the actual action of cloning this repo. So as you can see, I have, let me get this out of the way. I have a MetaMask Flask installed here. So if I go to manage my extension, you see it's very similar to the MetaMask main extension, but remember that you will have to deactivate the main extension. If you have other wallets like Phantom or Argent, I would suggest to disable those as well, just because all these wallets tend to access the same object, which is a window.ethereum, and sometimes you might get kind of funny result that you are not expecting. So if I go back to the monorepo, I will just skip a Snaps 101 workshop and a description, something, I don't know, this is just a clone of the monorepo. So I will go and clone this, or in the meantime, I will show that node version should be at least 16.0. Can just run node v to make sure. Okay. Cool. So this is clone. What I will do, I just copy the GitHub URL. I just clone it on my machine. Then I will cd into this folder. And in a second, I will also show what the code for Snaps look like. But first of all, I would just want to show you that to run this code, you can just do something like a yarn start. I assume most people here will be familiar with these commands, but they just kind of install dependency and spin a server in your machine to render a web app. So let's have a look in the chat. Yeah, exactly. Flask is the canary build on MetaMask. So anything that is like we are not fully confident to have in production, but we want developers to test, we run it in Flask. Okay, so I think this should be built. Let me have a look. Yeah. Okay, I'll guide you through this in a second. First of all, maybe I'll show you what the code for Snap looks like actually. So I'll open my VS Code, and as you can see, it's like this just really most of it is just really a normal web app that people should be like very used to. If where things kind of start to get interest is inside packages. So there's two things in here. First of all is the site, a kind of bundle of it. So site is everything that you see in here. It's just a kind of React app that you can modify. If you want to modify this template, if you want to build a snap, this is probably a great starting point because you also have the front end already. But where things kind of start to get interesting is into this snap folder. So one thing that you probably will notice is we have this snap manifest .json. This is very similar to a package.json file, but it contains specific metadata about a snap. So for example, you will have the version, the description, and things like the source, which is that it tells you where the location for that snaps actually live. I saw that someone raised a hand. I'm not sure I have a way to give them access to the mic. But yeah, let me see in here in chat. Is share presentation link. So, okay, I'll share after this call. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead. So yeah, as I said, this is just a set of metadata about a snap. And if we actually look into the source code, what you will see is that we have an on RPC request method. So on RPC request is the way for Snap to kind of interact with the JSON RPC API. So when you're building your front end, you will need a way to call the API from Snaps, and this is what usually is suggested. So you will see that there is a wallet object. This is kind of very similar to window.ethereum, and there is a method, an API method, snap confirm. What snap confirm I can probably actually show you in the snaps docs page. We look for snap confirm. So, okay, so what snaps confirm is like it's a method that calls a confirmation pop-up to be displayed in the MetaMask UI. So I think it's what I was telling you before. So you're probably familiar with it. When you're using a DApp, it asks you to confirm the action you want to take, and what the parameters that this snap confirm takes is prompt, description, and text area content. As you will see in the code, I'm passing all of them for here, and let me change just, for example, the description. We'll put this custom confirmation for snaps 101, and in the text area content, I can add some string that will show in the custom pop-up. So I can say something like, this is snaps 101 workshop custom confirmation. And before I go ahead, let me check the chat. But there is some activity here. What exactly is MetaMask snaps? It's like creating custom MetaMask. No, what MetaMask snap is just a program that runs on top of MetaMask. It extends its functionality. That's a good analogy. They're like plugin. What we like to usually the analogy we like to make, it's like if you think about the App Store, so the snaps are the apps, while MetaMask it's the operative system. What else? Can we add two-factor authentication for MetaMask? I've seen people using that trying to use MetaMask account abstraction for snaps. So I will say that you can probably play around with 2FA using snaps. 2FA out of the box is not supported in MetaMask because we don't store any user data, any personal data. Is it possible to access the mnemonic for Snap, e.g. to create a Shamir secret sharing Snap for better mnemonic backups? I'm not fully sure about that. I know you can access keys. My feeling is that you cannot access mnemonic phrases just for security reason. I can get back to you. But yeah, let's go ahead. So added this custom description and custom text area content. So if I go back to my snap, I'll save this. I'll rerun the server just because sometimes my machine it's a bit clumsy when I try to add the new code. So in the meantime, I'm typing some reply to the Q&A. Let me. Cool. Okay, so I'll go back to the front end that I showed you before. So I refresh. As you can see, there is a connect button. So when I click on this button, it will ask this snap to connect. To connect. So I click on connect, and you will see this is a new custom screen that you probably had never seen in a app. But what it asks is like this snap want to have the following permission. In this case, display a confirmation in MetaMask. He also give you a location where this request is coming from. I think this is very important as a kind of security feature. So every time you're gonna install a snap, you can see where it's coming from. It's gonna give you a version of the snap itself, which, as you probably guess, comes from the snaps manifesto.json. And if I click on this, I probably install this should connect. Should. I think, okay. Let me try again. Okay, so this is connected. Just takes a time to refresh. And if I come in here, this send hello message, as you can see, say display a custom message within a confirmation screen in MetaMask, which is the kind of piece of code that I showed you before. So if I click on send a message, we might have to reconnect. Okay, there is. So yeah, so this is what, I'm assuming that you guys can see this. Yeah, let me check. Let me check the chat. If you can see this pop-up, it tells you hello localhost 8000. This is custom confirmation for snaps 101. Amazing. As you can see it in chat. So this is where it was the message where we passed the string for this description. And this is Snaps 101 workshop custom confirmation, which comes from here. Yeah, and this is like the easiest snap that you can build. Obviously, this is a very kind of simple use case, but you can use this as a starting point to start building non-trivial snaps. So now in a moment, I will kind of go through some snaps that are already existing, so you can kind of have an idea of what you can build. But I would say that the monorepo, it's a great starting point. So I will I will send a link to the monorepo again in chat. And before going forward, let me check the Q&A again. So, okay, what are some good ideas to build snaps in this hackathon? This might be helpful. I can give you, I can tell you what I like. I think everyone in our team has a different opinion, but for me personally, I like connection to non-EVM chains, L1, L2, use account abstraction to create something cool, multi-sig, etc. Yeah, I think that's some kind of things I like. Also, transaction insights, where you can add some kind of extra set of data to your transaction. So is it like creating custom MetaMask? I would say it's more like running a plugin on top of MetaMask. can we modify the UI of MetaMask using snaps? So as I mentioned before, and actually I will show you the docs as well. MetaMask snaps. But by the way, at the moment, it's not possible to customize the UI, but it's definitely coming. So it's in our roadmap. Obviously, we know that it's a really important feature that people are excited about. As you can see in here, get this out of the way. The custom UI, it's coming soon. Something that everyone is super excited about, obviously. Any reference implementation? Yes, I will show you in a minute some existing implementation. Can we run a snap in a remote machine? I'm not sure what that means as a remote machine. You can, if you mean deploy it somewhere, yes, that should be okay. Does that mean, for example, I can connect to Solana chain and transfer asset from the chain to EVM chain? Not exactly. That means that you can access Solana, for example, from MetaMask to send funds cross-chain. You will still need some sort of bridge, which is kind of out of the scope for snaps. Okay, let me check this chat as well. Enabling support, yeah. Okay, cool. I think the next thing I'll do is I'll actually go through some existing example. I think that people are really excited to see what you can actually build. So I will show you a few snaps that are already existing that you can start to use straight away. The last thing I was going to mention about the kind of code inside is how to debug a snap. So if you never use an extension before, this might be a bit unfamiliar to you. But basically, you can put your console log around the code. And then if you go to Chrome extension and click on details, you can inspect view and you have a background.html file. So this, if I do it from here, it's basically this. So in here, you will see that there is a bunch of console log added. You can add more. And from here, that's the way to debug your snap. One thing to note about debugging is that at the moment, you will have to install your snap anytime you add a new console log. And this is something that the team is working hard on improving. And there should be a better way of kind of debugging without having to restart your server every time. Cool. Let's go towards some live example. So that one, I'm always very excited and I like to show people. It's the Bitcoin snap. As I mentioned before, obviously we don't support the Bitcoin network since it's not an EVM compatible network, but someone built a snap for it. So as you can see here, I'll open it. It has to connect to my MetaMask. It has to get addressed. And again, this is a confirmation that says this snap want to access your extended public key. I'll approve it. Okay, your Bitcoin wallet is ready. And you will see here, okay, this is just some onboarding for this dApp. But what the cool thing in here is that if what you're seeing, it's a real Bitcoin wallet. So if I go on receive, you see that I have a static address in here. And if I go to testnet Bitcoin Explorer, I can come in here, I can paste this address, and as you can see, this is a real Bitcoin address. So I can go back to to my Snap. I can send funds if I had any. I can receive them. I think I'm connected to testnet, but I can go to the setting and switch to mainnet. Again, it will ask me for a confirmation to switch my network, and I click approve, and now I'm basically in mainnet. It's probably taking a second to refresh, but yeah, this is like a real Bitcoin wallet, and it's using MetaMask. So this is something like super cool. I know people were asking what can we do with Snap. I think this is probably one of the best example of what we can build. And what else? Maybe I'll show you another one. Okay, the Starknet one, it's another good one. Let's see. I haven't opened this in a while, but let's see. So for those of you that are not familiar with Starknet, it's an L2 that uses the rollups. So, okay. So I think I was already connected to this before. That's why it didn't ask me for permission. But basically, this is my Starknet account. If I click on Golit, again, this is a Starknet account, and it's using basically MetaMask to connect, and you will be able to send transaction. Obviously, I don't have enough funds, so I cannot really send anything, but I can receive a transaction. This is a QR code that pairs with a real account. Yeah, you can do things like add token. So again, this as you can see, you still will need a front end for the time being, which is it's a dApp really, but everything that is happening, every kind of permission, every kind of transaction is being signed from MetaMask. And what else? Yeah, community support. So for those of you guys that want to build a Snap with different channel where you can get in touch with us, the main one is probably the consensus Discord channel. In there, you will see there is a Snaps dev section. I will send the link on chat as well. With the MetaMask and MetaMask dev Twitter accounts, you can, again, I can show you this real quick, but you can just Google Twitter MetaMask, you will see it. And then we have the GitHub discussion forum, which is on that monorepo, which I share the link a few times. You will see that in here, people have asked a bunch of questions. So if you have any question, feel free to ask it here or in Discord. Yeah, I guess let's go a bit more through the Q&A. Let me know if you have any other question. I'll go from the bottom down. Can you tell me about if I can probably tell you a bunch of stuff about it. Let me know what you want to know.
I think we can take up questions, which is basically like, I think I see a couple of questions for MetaMask snaps. Yeah. I think we can take that up first. Yeah, but folks, feel free to drop the rest of the queries on the Discord channel as well for the Eat for All. Yeah, to help you out there as well.
Sure. Can we modify the UI MetaMask using snaps? As I mentioned before, not yet, but it's coming. Let's see, this is a long one. I've used Airwave Fullcoin snaps. It will bring all environments so we can send the receiver, etc. I want to ask about MetaMask snap. I want to use the custom RPC of the EVM chain, but the chain ID is different. I want that it will give output Ethereum custom RPC, and I want output using snap chain ID. I think this is a great question to ask on Discord because multiple people can see this. What else? Let me see. Okay, this is not exactly about snaps. Let me see. What can you share some ideas for account abstraction using snaps? I think people mentioned 2FA before. That would be cool. There's a bunch of things that you can do with account abstraction. So apart from 2FA, you can do things like social recovery, accounts management, spending limit, paymasters. So I think there is it's a very broad topic. So you would probably think about something specific. What else? I think that's it in terms of question. I know there is another bunch of questions which is not really related to MetaMask, but I can answer quick. So how will MetaMask decentralize access to Web3? Will you be bringing out a token? I don't think we will bring a token, at least I never heard anything about it. How will we access, how we will give access to decentralized, how we will democratize decentralized access. I think our mission is to make sure that everyone can access our product, that everyone can use Ethereum and blockchain. And yeah, that's our main goal. So just build a permissionless future. Can we bring Snaps as plugin to MetaMask main version? So not yet. It will be shipped to production at some point this year. At the moment, you still have to use Flask, which is what I showed you before, and is this little guy up here. You can just go on Google Chrome extension and install Flask. Yeah.
We are. I think that ends the number of questions which were directly related to MetaMask snaps. I'm just going to the Q&A once again.
And I saw that there is a lot of requests about the hackathon and what people can build. Maybe feel free to write me on Twitter or to jump on our Discord, and we can give you some extra ideas about it.
Sounds good. So yes, folks, the team would also be on the ETH for All Discord server. So there is a dedicated channel for consensus. So if you're building on MetaMask snaps, feel free to drop any questions. If you can't come across anything while building on top of it. And yeah, thanks a lot, Mirko, for taking out the time and helping out the builders at ETH for All learn all about MetaMask snaps. I think this was a great 101. I also got to learn a few things. But yeah, thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
All right, thanks. So folks, we have like a attached quiz as well for you to answer. So I'm just going to drop the link in the chat. And this then basically concludes today's workshop by consensus. And in a couple of minutes, we'll be starting with Arcana. So feel free to join that as well. And we have a quiz for that as well. Right. See you, folks.